Hi guys, it's Michelle, Deception Bytes, and it is August 17th, and it's 9:48 p.m. Eastern Time. I am picking up from where we left off with the August 16th drop. It was a huge drop, and it did require 2 videos, and this is the second one. So let's get started. I'm hoping that I will come down from my sugar rush presently, because while I took a break from the last video and this, I happen to have had 5 popsicles. Yes, 5. Count them. Now, why did I eat 5 popsicles? I don't know, but I am already regretting it. And they were all orange. I ate 5 orange popsicles. 5, mind you. 5. And I do have the popsicle juice on my chair to prove it, because it is sticking to my arm. All right, now, why I had to tell you that, I don't know, but I guess I needed to confess, and I do feel better, so let's continue. All right, now, this is where we left off, and it was here, and with this picture right here, and beneath it, Q asks us, what happens if FISA fails or signers cannot be trusted? Who signed the Carter Page FISA? Well, that would have been Rod Rosenstein. How do you keep something secure and safeguarded when those at the top of ABC departments, and by ABC he means, the alphabet boys, the CIA and the FBI and so forth, when those at the top of ABC departments are corrupt and being removed? Well, he then gives us a link, so let's go out and look. And this is INSCOM, U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command. This is who this is. This is where what this insignia belongs to. So let's go back out to Q and finish. Let's go here to the next link that he provides us, and we get a security warning, but I don't care. Continue anyway. All right, and again we see this insignia. INSCOM executes mission command of operational intelligence and security forces, conducts and synchronizes worldwide multidiscipline and all sorts intelligence and security operations, delivers linguistic support and intelligence-related advanced skills training, acquisition support, logistics, communications, and other specialized capabilities in support of Army, Joint, and Coalition commands and the U.S. intelligence community. So that is what they do. Now, let's go back. So then underneath, he says, Patriots, one and all. Q. Now, what is he trying to tell us here? Now, the patch insignia is one of the United States Army Intelligence and Security Command. And this is just going to take us out and show us the insignia, which we already have. So that doesn't really give us any added information there. But I think that what Q is getting at here is what happens if FISA fails or signers cannot be trusted? Well, obviously, the FISA did fail and the signers could not be trusted, because we have Rod Rosenstein in this particular circumstances signing the Carter Page FISA. How do you keep something secure and safeguarded when those at the top of the ABC departments are corrupt and being removed? How? Well, I would say Army intelligence. And I think that that's what he's alluding to here. Patriots, one and all. Q. So let's go back up to here. And we have, woohoo, boy, do I ever have a sugar rush. 5 popsicles. 5, I say. 5. Okay, here we have this post by Q, and he's alluding to this post by an anon that says, "Never have I been so proud to be an Army soldier. Hurrah." Hooah, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that. Hooah? Okay. So, and then another anon. So, aha, Q, you now have half the board thinking ES is Eric Schmidt and the other half, ES, is Edward Snowden. Please confirm which. Now, this is what we were talking about in the last video, and I said it is definitely Edward Snowden, rather, because of the context of what he was saying, and I don't see or understand how anyone could think it was Eric Schmidt, but that's just me. I think it was very obvious, and if it was any more obvious, it would have tap danced across our noses and shouted hallelujah in our face. But people did wonder, so they're asking Q to confirm which. And Q says, "Hooah, soldier. Thank you for your service. God bless, Q." And then Q says, "It should be clear in this context, ES equals Snowden. It should be clear based on previous drop regarding game communications why Edward Snowden was included. It should be clear that Eric Snowden was used in both Google plus Snowden drops to establish a link, Q." So yes, ES was included both for Google, Eric Schmidt, and Snowden, Eric Snowden, but you have to look at the context in which it's being used. So it shouldn't be a question, and I don't understand why anybody questioned it, but that's just me. So yes, I think it was very, very obvious that he was talking about Edward Snowden, and he is confirming it here. All right. And then we get to the next one, and it has a Twitter status for Comey. Now, let's take a look at this, just because we can. And we are. And here we go. Oh, look at the little smile, like as if he's innocent. Okay, once again, this president is sending a message that he will punish people who disagree with him and reward those who praise him. In a democracy, security clearances should not be used as pawns in a petty political game to distract voters from even bigger problems. This president befriends and praises despots and dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-un. Those friends provide stark contrasts to the patriotic Americans and public servants he disrespects, threatens, and calls enemies. A war hero like John McCain, excuse me, no disrespect intended. Members of our country's free press and devoted public servants like John Brennan. American voters must not shrug off or be distracted from the terrible behaviors of this president who lies to the American people every day, encourages racism in a misogynist, and always puts his is a misogynist and always puts his own interest above those of the United States of America. Politicians enabling this president should be held accountable in future elections. We are each responsible for what we say as well as for our silence. Well, that's like taking advice from Satan. Yeah. Okay, let's go back now that we've all had a little snicker. All right, so Q says line 4, email, Gmail, 12/9/16. So this is December 9th, 2016. Q is giving us line 4 of an email by Comey. Well, Comey, what do you think of this? Q is giving us line 4 of an email of yours. It says, quote, "Untethered to department standards, ... concerned dedicated resources in place are not adequate to shelter against the PDB in which several agencies contribute, ... quote, will you stand tall or cower? Resist operation? Resist OP will not provide enough public support. Resist operation will not provide enough public support for cover. Smile for the camera. Patriots in control. Q. So is the line in quotes from a Gmail draft associated with Comey? Yes, I believe it is. Edit. Sure appears to be that Q just read line 4 from this Comey Gmail draft. Comey knows if Q has this, he has everything. This, not randomly generated text, he said, this is from line 4 of your Gmail draft. Read as, do you want to keep playing this game? Do you think you can possibly win? I'm thinking that no, you can't win. But you keep smiling there, Comey. You smile for the camera and you keep trying. You keep trying, buddy. Yeah, that's good. You keep trying. All right. Now, we have this. This is from Q, and he's making reference to this anon. And this anon is pointing out 3 particular drops by Q, and I've made it bigger below. This is Q. He says, what happens if FISA fails or signers cannot be trusted? Who signed the Carter Page FISA? We've already looked at that. And then we've got this one, which we just read, that said line 4, Gmail 12/9/16. Okay, the one we just looked at. And then we've got another one that says, what a coincidence. James Comey, did your email trigger a fake news blast? And then we've got samples, the New York Times. We've got, someone's trying to get a hold of me here, but I am going to let that go to voicemail. Okay, what a coincidence. James Comey, did your email trigger a fake news blast? Sample. And then we've got all of these. What exactly is the president's daily brief and why is it important? Presidential daily briefing, intel briefing, blah, blah, blah. So Q is saying, did your email trigger a fake news blast? Now, this is what Q is responding to, and he's just merely responding to it with acknowledgement. And then up here, we see this by Q, and it says sample. And it says another wave of attacks, same day as the targeted, coordinated attack versus POTUS. Nothing to see here. Q. Now, here are some of the attacks. Let's take a look. Here's what you need to know about QAnon, the fringe movement taking hold among Trump supporters. There's one. Get rid of this. And we'll come back to here. And then we've got the Daily Beast. Top Republicans hit up QAnon conspiracy nuts for cash. And we've got this one here. QAnon and the 4chan trolls who could help Donald Trump in the 2018 midterms. And what else do we have? 4chan conspiracy that believes Trump is a genius. And then there's this one. Why we have the CIA. Hang on. Why we have the CIA partly to thank for the craziest conspiracy theory yet. The roots of the wackiest pro-Trump conspiracy can be traced back to the CIA. And let's go see what else that we have in our potpourri of fake news here. Here we go. Russian trolls spread baseless conspiracy theories like Pizzagate and QAnon after the election. Oh, right. It's the Russian trolls again. Gosh, they're busy, those Russian trolls. Dang, I wonder if they're hiring. There seems to be a lot of them. Perhaps you'd have to be Russian, though, to be hired as a Russian troll. One doesn't know, does one? All right, and then we have this. CNN poll, Democratic advantage grows in race for Congress. Yeah, totally believable. Totally believable. I believe it, don't you? Yeah.
New CNN polling releasing right now shows a growing Democratic advantage when voters are asked which party they want to control.
All right. A deep dive into the deep state, unpacking the summer of Trump conspiracy theories. The summer of Trump. That should be somebody should make that into a song or a novel or something. The summer of Trump. All right, let's go back. And, okay, that was the deep dive into the deep state, unpacking the summer of Trump. Conspiracy theories, and what is this? Let's take a look here. What have we here? Can't wait to see. Here we go. We're almost there. There it is. In drawing equivalencies between white supremacists and Antifa, media outlets obscure ideologies and impacts. White supremacists commit murders in pursuit of genocidal policies. Antifa throws punches. They're not the same, and media outlets should make that clear. Oh my gosh. It's the white supremacists. Yes. We're all white supremacists, and actually, even the people that aren't white are being called white supremacists. You know, like Candace there, they were calling, what weren't they calling her a white supremacist? I'm not quite sure how a beautiful African American woman can be called a white supremacist. Not sure how that works. If someone could fill me in on that, I'd sure appreciate it. But apparently she is. Yeah, she's a white supremacist. All right. Now let's go back and see what other mischief we can get into here. Okay, one more. What do we have? What do we have here? Oh, let us have a childhood on the road with Parkland activists. Oh, and where's Hog Boy there? They're not showing him there. I thought we'd get a good view of Hog Boy as usual. You know, they're registering voters. They're spotlighting the work of local organizers. They're talking about all forms of gun violence. 6 months and a day after a gunman massacred 17 of their classmates and staff, the students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School woke up Wednesday and began a new year. Now, I am not at all making fun of this. School shootings are absolutely horrible. They're horrible, and you know, we all agree with that. But the narrative that these are all being, you know, conducted by just these lone wolf, crazy people, I just don't buy that. But that's me. And I think it's another way to get rid of our guns, because of course, once our guns are gone, we have no way of defending ourselves. And getting rid of guns doesn't work, because if it did work, there would be no violence in Chicago, right? There'd be no violence in Canada. Because, and there'd be no violence in Britain, where guns are outlawed. But it goes from, you know, gun violence to knife violence. Now they have to, you know, ban knives, and then it'll go from knife violence to acid attacks now. Well, they can ban the acid, I guess, but then what will it be? Do you think that if somebody has murder in their heart, they have murder in their heart, and they're going to use whatever they have at their disposal to commit it? It's not the guns. In fact, guns prevent more crimes than they actually, you know, that actually are committed by them. They prevent more. Anyway, let me not get into that, because I'm very passionate about that, and I know people who they like to argue with me about that, especially here in Canada, because they just think that guns are awful, because they've been conditioned from birth to believe that. Now, having lived most of my life in the States, I don't feel that at all. I don't see that at all. Yes, I was subjected to the same brainwashing as a child about gun violence, and in fact, you know, I know my mom would not allow my brother to even have a toy gun or anything like that because she didn't want my brother to grow up with any sort of violence or whatever. But so yes, it is in my background, but I just don't subscribe to that because when I look at the facts and the figures and the real facts and figures, they don't add up. It doesn't add up. So anyway, let's go on because I know you didn't come here to listen to a woman that's all hopped up on popsicles spewing her views about gun violence. Anyway, and I truly am all hopped up on popsicles, let me tell you. I don't know what got into me. I guess a bunch of popsicles. Okay, now, after all these, Q says, another wave of attacks. Same day as the targeted coordinated attack versus POTUS. Nothing to see here, Q. So they're attacking both Donald Trump and Q now. Q has been added to the whatever as a target, I guess. He's been added as a target since he's been outed at the Florida rally. And I think that was on purpose. I think that they did they did mean for that to be outed then. The Trump people meant for that to be outed at that Trump rally. I believe that anyway. All right, let's go on. Okay, let's take a look. Q wants us to go out and take a look at this. And so we will. These people are sick. Catholic priest hits crying baby. Evil will answer for the atrocities they have inflicted on our children. Now, Q takes us right out to the Great Awakening Board to see this. So he obviously wants us to see this post. And I have seen this before on Twitter, and I was shocked when I saw it before. If you haven't seen it, then I'm going to play it because it's definitely worth seeing, and it is alarming. Watch the priest and the child.
Je vais faire couler de l'eau sur le front du juge, et après, on va embrasser le bonhomme, parce qu'il sera devenu un petit chrétien. Oh là 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 là. Je tirerai plus fort que toi. Alors,
Okay, that's all of that I can watch, okay? The priest is hitting the child because the child is crying. And certainly, you give a child like that into the hands of a man that it doesn't know. And of course it's going to cry. A lot of children make strange. And that's just normal. I mean, I've seen many children, I'm not Catholic, I'm Protestant, but I've seen many children dedicated. They have like a dedication service. They save baptism for when they grow up and they can make that decision for themselves, but they do have a dedication service where where parents dedicate their child to be raised in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And a lot of times when the child is given to the pastor, the child will begin to cry. It's absolutely normal. You give a small child, into the hands of a stranger, and often they will cry. But I never in my life have seen anyone hit a crying child in that sort of circumstance. Does he really think that's going to calm the child down? It's absolutely deplorable. So let's go back out. If you want to see the whole thing, it's out there on YouTube, it's out there on Twitter, it's out there all sorts of places. I just don't want to see anymore because it literally makes me feel sick to my stomach. And there you go. So Q asks, man of God? Is this a man of God? I would say not. I don't know how any man or woman of God or anyone of God, period, could slap a child like that for simply crying. but he does. Q says, see something, say something. People must unite to clean out these old institutions. Q. And that's right. You know, if we recognize who that priest is, if there are people there that are Catholic and do recognize that priest, they need to say something. Not that I doubt anything will be done. I hate to be that way, but it just seems that way. But we do need to stop taking these things for granted, and when we see them occur, they need to be addressed. I know if that was my child, I would have walked out at that point. There was no way I would allow my child to be hit like that. That's just me. I know that these parents were probably having, a tug of war inside, because they probably respect this priest, and it's like, oh my gosh, I love my child, I respect the priest, I don't want to insult the priest, I don't want my child to be hurt. There's probably this horrible tug of war going on inside of them. All right, now let's continue on here. And let me see here. Let's go all the way up to here. And Q posts this picture by an anon, and this is a screenshot. There's somebody walking across the street here, and I think we all recognize this picture from before, or if you've been following along with Q, you should recognize it. It is the Western Pacific Kindergarten right here. We've got a couple people walking across the street here, and an anon posted this, and they said underneath, let's not forget about the Western Pacific Kindergarten. And they put a link to it here. I'm not going to go out to that right now. We have looked into this before. And then there's another picture posted by Anons. And this, of course, is Bill Maher, and with his red shoes. And here are a bunch of people that we've seen this before, all standing around in their red shoes as if this is perfectly normal. In all my days, I have never seen a man in a suit with red shoes. Never. So I don't think that this is, some fashion trend. I think it is a symbolic statement. And I think it is a symbolic statement that sucks, because I think it has to do with child sacrifice. There is an interview out there as well with, I believe, Macaulay Culkin, talking about how he was, he was sent into a room with an executive that had the red shoes on, and he realized that the red shoes had come from someone that he knew that had been murdered. Now you can look that up for yourself. It's out there, and it's pretty alarming. I believe that I went over it in a video at some point, but I wouldn't be able to begin to tell you which one, because they all start to blur together after a while, especially after you've had 5 popsicles. All right, so let's take a look at these links that are provided. All right, this is received by NSD FARA Registration Unit, short form registration statement pursuant to a foreign agent registration of, I really don't know what I'm looking at here. Andrew Cowders, let me see here. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. During the period beginning 60 days prior to the date of your obligation to register at the time of filing the statement, did you make any contributions of money or other things of value from your own funds or possessions or on your behalf in connection with any election to political office or in connection with any primary election, convention, or caucus held to select candidates in any political office? Yes. And Friends of Mazie Hirono, Pascal Pascrell for Congress, Tammy Baldwin for Senate, Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, Joe Kennedy for Congress, Matt Sue for Congress. Okay, these are the amounts now, and this is Andrew's Cotter's. I'm not really sure what we are looking at here, to tell you the honest to goodness truth. Let's look at another of these links and see if I can figure this out. Lobbying registration, Clerk of House of Representatives, Secretary of Senate, Lobbying Disclosure Act of 1995. Oh, this is a Podesta group, okay. Client, European Center for a Modern Ukraine. Lobbying firm is required to file a separate registration for each client. Okay, contract Ms. Kimberly Fritz. Okay, and it's Anthony Podesta, Christina Antello, Andrew Cotters. And this is Senior Advisors, Senator Robert Menendez, Senior Advisor, Executive Director, House Democratic Caucus, Senior Advisor, Committee Director, Senator Robert Menendez, Spokesman, Deputy Secretary, Department of Agriculture, Deputy Communication Director, White House Climate Change Task Force, Special Assistant, Environmental Protection Agency. All right, and this is digitally signed by Kimberly Fritz. Still not exactly sure why we're looking at this. I'm just being honest. But these are, okay, upcoming events from A. Cowder at podestagroup.com to Podesta at podesta.com. And it says, regarding upcoming events. On May 30th, 2015 at 4:17 p.m., Tony Podesta wrote, please do on my link, trying to get to my goal. Thanks, Tony, sent from my iPhone. On May 30th, 2015 at 12:20, Andrew Cotters wrote, Haley was invited by Marguerite separately. I'm happy to join and make my first contribution to the campaign. On May 29th, 2015 at 11:04 a.m., Tony Podesta wrote, not sure if you're already in for Clinton, but John's a pretty good cook. If you'd just like to give, here is the link, HillaryClinton.com, donate. Thanks, Tony. Not sure if you're already in for Clinton, but John's a pretty good cook. From Angelique Cannon to Tony Podesta, regarding upcoming events with Hillary Clinton. Dear friend, we are pleased to share the upcoming Mid-Atlantic finance events with John Podesta and Robbie Mook. An evening of cooking with John Podesta and special guest, Chef Nora Pouillon, Friday, June 5th, 2015, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., home of Marguerite Thompson, Washington, D.C., Chef Circle, 2,700, Head Chef, 1,500, Sous Chef, 500, RSVP at HillaryClinton.com, special events, cooking, Podesta, June 5th, and for more information, please contact Amanda McIntyre at HillaryClinton.com. Thank you, Angelique. And here we go. Angelique Cannon, Deputy National Finance Director, Mid-Atlantic Region, Hillary for America, and HillaryClinton.com, paid for by Hillary for America. Contributions or gifts to Hillary for America are not tax deductible. This email was sent to Podesta at Podesta.com, mail to Podesta at Podesta.com. Click here to unsubscribe, blah, blah, blah. Hillary for America, P.O. Box 5256, New York, New York. And there you are. Wonder what they're cooking. Just saying. You have to wonder. Q says, nothing to see here. Q. Now, let's go out to here. And again, I think we looked at this before about all the red shoes. A man shows off his red shoes in front of the Pope, smiling. The male says attached are pictures that captured some of the spirit of the evening at a couple of different levels. Like for Podesta's 65th birthday, wow, everyone has red shoes. And indeed, they do. Why red shoes? Well, they like to say that it's because, you know, the Wizard of Oz and, you know, the red ruby shoes, it isn't. That's not what I understand it to mean at all. Somebody says, watch the end of the movie Pan's Labyrinth. At the end of the movie, the leading character, Ophelia, has to pass the ultimate test, a child offered to Pan. She has to offer blood of her baby brother in a ritual to open a portal to her throne, symbol of power, but she refuses, and instead she is killed herself by her stepfather, which is in fact also a child offer because she herself is a child. By offering her own life, she passes the ultimate test, and she wakes up in another world, the world she belongs to, where her throne is waiting for her. Here she is wearing red shoes as a symbol that she passed the ultimate test of child offer, in her case her own life, which can be seen as the highest initiation. Her red shoes are also a direct reference to Dorothy and her ruby slippers. Using this allegory with Pan's Labyrinth, wearing red shoes could be a mark that someone passed the initiation of child offering. Now, this is what I believe that it means. It does mean that they have killed a child, and those shoes are made of human skin. That is what I have been told that it means. I have read that in several places. I have read several people that have been part of this world talk about this, including Macaulay Culkin. If you can find that interview, I could perhaps try and find where I found it. I did allude to it in other videos, but this is kind of well known in their world that this is what that means. It's disgusting, but that's what it means. And I'm not going to hold back on that because that is my true understanding of its meaning. It's rightfully disgusting. James Alefantis compares himself to Pan. Some sources say Pan is the god of sexual perversion, pedophilia, and rape. Mark the name of the girl in the word ped, Ophelia. Ophelia is also a character in Shakespeare's Hamlet, who at the end of the play is found dead, her body floating in water. A painting in John Podesta's collection resembles well-known painting of Shakespeare's Ophelia. In Pan's Labyrinth, Ophelia wears red shoes after her death, and Renaissance in the other world. So anyway, there's a lot on this out there, and if you'd like to do some more information on that, if you'd like to do some more fishing on that, so to speak, then there's lots of stuff out there. I can also do a video on that if I have time, and it's something that you'd like to see. That's something that would probably be very interesting to do. But it would be actually very disgusting, but also very interesting in that it shows the depth of the depravity that we're dealing with here. It really has no bounds, their depravity. Now, picture of Joel Getz taken in Hong Kong, Western Pacific Kindergarten, and this is the picture. And of course, we have the Western Pacific Kindergarten here, which itself is involved in many nefarious situations involving children. And let's go back here. And the head of that is, hang on here, The guy that you see walking across the street here, that is this guy. And it's Joel Getz. And Q is saying, what are the shovels used for? I guess burying bodies. And and we also have a picture of him taken with red shoes. Beijing kindergarten operated by RYB, operated by Joel Getz, former executive at Clinton Foundation, was shut down for sexual molestation and needle marks on children. Yes, you heard that correctly. Ex-Clinton Foundation official tied to Chinese kindergarten embroiled in bizarre sexual abuse scandal. A former Clinton Foundation official who is now an independent director at a company which operates private schools in China has found himself embroiled in a bizarre child abuse scandal involving needles, pills, brown syrup, nudity, and sexual molestation, according to parents. The head of a Beijing kindergarten has been fired after China launched a nationwide investigation into a chain of private schools operated by RYB Education, Inc., following claims of abuse at multiple locations. Parents report at least 8 toddlers with mysterious needle marks, while others said their children were forced to take white pills that were supposed to be a little secret between the children and teachers, along with some sort of brown syrup given to the students. Children were also allegedly stripped naked and forced to stand or locked in a dark room, one parent said. Oh, totally normal, right? An unidentified mother who made a viral video about the abuse told reporters Thursday that her son was injected with a brown liquid by a teacher and made to strip along with other students before being examined by a naked adult male stranger, describing it as an action like sexual intercourse. When the mother pressed the principal to allow her to review closed-circuit footage from the school, she was denied. Now, if nothing was going on, why would she be denied? Medical examination of the 8 children confirmed that the injuries were in fact caused by needles. Guangzhou police report, furious parents gathered in front of RYB Education New World Kindergarten on Friday demanding answers, while China's Xinhua News Agency reports the children were also sexually molested. The Beijing kindergarten at the heart of the controversy is located next to a large military base. Sparking rumors that military officials have been sexually abusing the children. Notably, the husband of the kindergarten's director was previously an official at the base. However, Fan Zhangfen, the base's political commissioner, told PLA Daily that there was no evidence that military personnel are involved in the abuse. Well, of course not. Li Jing, mother of a 3-year-old girl, told AFP that her daughter had not been abused, but said other children had explained how they were coerced into taking pills. Other kids were saying it is not to be called taking a pill, but a reward, and the pill is not to be called a pill, but a jelly bean, and it is a secret between the child and the teacher, Lee said. I asked my child after I heard what other parents said, and my child said that they had taken 2 white pills after lunch and slept after eating the pills, one father told CCTV outside the school on Thursday. These latest allegations are not the first involving RYB schools. In April, the head of a different RYB kindergarten in Beijing was suspended after admitting that teachers had made severe mistakes when videos emerged of children being thrown and kicked in the back. In October 2016, 2 teachers from an RYB kindergarten in the northeast Jilin province were sentenced to 34 months in prison after jabbing children in the buttock, head, and sides of their mouth with sewing needles. Link to the Clinton Foundation. RYB Education operates 80 kindergartens and has another 175 franchise locations across 130 cities in China, according to filings. All of its directors are Chinese, with the exception of former Clinton Foundation executive and associate dean at Yale, Joel Getz, 52, who is listed as an independent director. Mr. Joel A. Getz is independent director of the company. Prior to that, Mr. Getz served as Director of Development for the William J. Clinton Foundation in New York and was president of the Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City. The RYB Investor Relations page lists Getz as a member of the Audit Committee and the Compensation Committee. Bill Bishop of the Sinocism China newsletter and Axios contributor points out that it's a bit odd that an associate dean at Yale would be on a board of directors of a Chinese kindergarten chain, suggesting that perhaps Getz thought it would be easy money. Why is Joel Getz, an associate dean at Yale, on the board of an RYB education? Must have thought would be easy money from now at the center of child abuse scandal. Form now at the center of child abuse scandal. Shares of RYB plummeted on Friday after the investigation was announced, falling over 42% in early trade, only to recover slightly, ending the day down 38.41. So there you go. Let's go back. So that is that guy. He's also got the red shoes. I wonder who was killed to provide him with those shoes. And what is this? Let's take a look here. Oh, yes. And this is him as well. Ex-Clinton Foundation official Joel Getz tied to Chinese kindergarten depraved sexual abuse scandal. So we won't go through all this again. I think that we've seen enough. But obviously, Q has brought it up again, and brought it up in association with these pictures here of the red shoes. Interesting. Very interesting. Disgusting, but interesting. So, again, Q here is making reference to this post of his own, and beneath it he says, remember, conspiracy friends, LARPs have access to a full stock of original surveillance photos. He's being a little bit sarcastic here, okay? He's saying, okay, yeah, they're supposedly calling this a conspiracy, but LARPers don't generally have access to this kind of footage, this kind of surveillance footage. Where would a LARPer get that kind of footage? And he's being sarcastic here. Remember, conspiracy friends, LARPs have access to a full stock of original surveillance photos. Like, no, they don't. Nothing to see here. Fake news, constant attacks, nothing to see here. Enjoy the show. Q. And when Q says there's nothing to see here, there's always plenty to see there. All right, and then we've got this. And Q is referencing this anon. Breaking news via Brett Baer, Fox. 4 planes have made emergency landings in Chile, Peru, and Argentina. No details yet. And below, we have another anon with a link here. So let's go out to the link. And Q is acknowledging both here. Let me see here. Unable to open. Why? Why aren't you able to open it? Why? Okay, well, let's do this. We're going to find this. We're going to go and we're going to find it. And we're going to conquer this. Because I am invincible, because I have eaten 5 popsicles. 5, mind you, 5 popsicles. All right. Page not found. Well, isn't that interesting? We're sorry, the page you were looking for isn't found. Did they take it down? One would assume so. Let's go back. Now here, Q is responding to these two, and he's saying, within a week of the last boom set. What a coincidence. Remember Southwest? Remember Texas? 4 Boom, 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 boom. Q. Now let's take a look here because it seems to me that I did find another link. Let's take a little boo. 3 planes make emergency landings in South America over bomb threats. Reports. Well. 3 flights were forced to make emergency landings after Chilean officials reported receiving several bomb threats on Thursday. The planes made landings in Chile and Peru following the telephoned threats, Reuters reported, citing Chilean aviation officials. The news agency initially reported 4 flights landed in 3 countries before revising the numbers. According to a press release from the LATAM Airlines, a passenger plane was traveling to Santiago, Chile, when it received a bomb threat at about 2:48 p.m. LATAM Flight 2369 landed over an hour later at Pisco International Airport, where authorities were alerted to the scene. An explosive unit was also sent out. The passengers are being transported by land to the city of Lima, Peru, and there they will be routed to their final destination within the airline. A translation of the press release reads, "There were no immediate reports of injuries on the LATAM Flight 2369. A team for deactivating this explosive meantime has been notified," the ministry said, adding that right now the situation is under control. 2 planes operated by Chile-based Sky Airlines bound for Rosario, Argentina, and the northern Chilean city of Calama returned to Santiago without incident. Chile's Civil Aviation Agency says all 3 planes were inspected and it was determined that there were no explosives on board. There were no immediate details about the threats except they were phoned in. Interesting. All right, so now let's go back here and we're going to go to the Great Awakening community and see what they're saying there. My guess is that they are probably a little bit more clear-headed over there because they probably have not eaten 5 popsicles, but that is just my opinion. Perhaps they have eaten 5 popsicles, or perhaps they've eaten more. But I bet you they weren't all orange popsicles. Come on. It doesn't want to work for me. Now it's opening like 500,000 times. And here we are. All right. CNBC has already disabled that link. I guess they don't want any traffic from Q. LOL. Now that's the first link we tried to go out to. Works for me. It's just the paragraph posted less than 30 minutes ago. No news on it yet. No, it's completely down. Here's what I get. Okay, we don't care what you get. I'm getting page not found, and that's what I found. That's what I got as well. Okay, we don't want to hear from all these people that can't get to the link. From the Chilean desk of the International News Organization, first it is said that an anonymous call claimed that an airplane had taken off with a bomb on board. Later in the article, it is said that the LATAM office in Colombia received a call from a male warning that 4 flights had bombs on board, but they treat it as if they didn't know which ones. Many flights are mentioned herein. The article from a Spanish organization says the Chilean radar control received a specific threat for Flight 2369. This article shows one post from Chilean authorities about Flight Sky 162. I found interesting comments to the official Peruvian release on Flight 2369 that landed in Pisco Folks are saying the PR is a lie. Their family members are still stranded in Pisco, and there were injuries during the emergency disembark onto the tarmac. Someone else posts that the passengers of the flight detoured to Mendoza, Argentina, are in similar straits. Some advise caution that this was a military operation, pretext to forced landing in a military base. Suspicion all around. Must be a Canadian. What browser are you using? What difference does that make? Nothing posted on CNBC, but just the red breaking news banner at the top. Pentagon postponing Trump military parade. Just saw that. Parade moved to 2019. I am guessing to have military around for tribunals that go into effect January 2019. Wow, 4 all in one day. What are the chances? What does Q mean? Southwest Texas boom. Southwest Airlines engine blew out. Wells Fargo executive killed by shrapnel. Austin bombings. Yes, this is what he's referring to here. I don't think so. The Austin bombings didn't reek of the deep state like the others, as Metavinci pointed out. The Southwest Airlines engine blew up and the Wells Fargo exec was killed in the process. These were 2 events, the Southwest tragedy and the Texas bombings. I'd be more inclined to believe that Q was referring to the Austin bombings if Austin was actually in Southwest Texas. 2 events, Southwest plane and Austin, Texas bombings. That's what I believe he was talking about, these 2 events. And, what about Mike Huckabee's flight that was quarantined due to a virus? I wonder if that fits with the booms. No, Mike said it was because somebody threw up and they quarantined to clean up. I remember, Southwest Airlines jet diverts because of cracked window. Southwest is capitalized in Q Post. They weren't just threats, however, we all knew the accused bomber wouldn't make it out alive. Very fishy setup. So, anyway, there's a lot of comments here. I don't know what is happening, to tell you the truth, with this plane and the plane making landings and all of this. Interesting. 4 planes have made emergency landings. I believe personally that we are going to hear more about this, but right now I think Q is just making us aware of it because he's drawing attention to these 2 posts by 2 separate anons about the incident, and it's obviously something that we need to be aware of. And he said, within a week of last boom set, what a coincidence. And then remember Southwest, and of course that was the window that blew out because of the engine, and the person was halfway sucked out of the window and ended up dying. And then remember Texas, and of course those were the bombings in Texas. And he said 4, boom, 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 Q. Now, personally, I think that there will be more news forthcoming on this. I think Q just touched on it, but I think that there's more to know here, and I think that we probably will in upcoming posts, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, the next post is this, and Q is making reference to this post by an anon, drawing attention to the email that we looked at from Podesta, Andrew Cotters. And I know this is very blurry, and I apologize, but here someone has underlined. It says, "Dear friend, we are pleased to share the upcoming Mid-Atlantic Finance event with John Podesta and Bobby Mook." And John Podesta and Bobby Mook are underlined in red. And it says, "An evening of cooking with John Podesta." And that is boxed in red here. And it says, "House of Marguerite Thompson." And this anon, or Q, makes reference to this and says, was a notable. Anons are on fire. I guess because it's an evening of cooking with John Podesta. And let's come down here. And it says, "Why did the Podesta group close?" Now let's go out here. I think this is, if not, it's the same ones we looked at earlier, I do believe. In fact, I would swear to it. Yeah, we've already looked at these. And we're kind of puzzling over them. Oh, look at this. This is Hong Kong Trade Development Council. The agreement between the registrant and the above-named foreign principal is formal written contract if this box is checked. And it is Exhibit B to registration statement pursuant to Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938. There is 11 pages to this, of which I am not going to read. Might be very interesting to read it, but at this point we do not have time, nor would you want me to sit and read all 11 pages, especially when I'm full of popsicles. All right. Let's go back. So why did the Podesta group close? Let's go out and take another boo at the Great Awakening. Oh, my eyes are closing and I think I need a Great Awakening. You know what sugar does to you. It gets you all hopped up and then it drops you like, you know, like an old lover. Sad, sad. That's why I avoid sugar. Usually, except for times like this when it sounds like a good idea, but it's never really a good idea because you feel good for a while and then it drops you. I hate when that happens. All right. The Podesta group closed the same week Manafort was indicted for foreign lobbying without disclosure. They were then allowed to retroactively disclose their ties. Total sham job. They are 10 times worse than Manafort. Speaking of sham job, I don't know why this popped into my head, and it could have something to do with the popsicles and probably the chemicals that they put in those popsicles, because who knows. But I think that we should boycott shampoo. I do. I think we should all boycott shampoo. And you know why? Do you know why we need to boycott shampoo? Because we shouldn't have shampoo. We should only have real poo. All right. I'm going to continue now. All right. Mueller probe, Tony, disgusting art. Podesta leaves under increased scrutiny, and most of the bigger members of Podesta Group go to Cogent Strategies, run by Andrew Cotters, the guy in Q Post 1916. He's burying evidence, a la hiding bodies. What are shovels used for? And he's a member of the Red Shoes Club. The good part of this is that Q basically says that he, Q, knows where the bodies are buried. He will make it right. He will make it right, and we will mourn them and treat them with dignity, if not in life, then death. And for what it's worth, they've all known for a long time. They've been in control for a long time. We're winning. It's just behind the scenes where the real war between good and evil is being fought. Stay hopeful, Patriot. I'm praying for you too. So let's continue here. And obviously, what are shovels for? Shovels are for digging. So we can use our shovels for digging. They use their shovels to bury the bodies. We use our shovels for digging them up. And why do we want to dig them up? Because we want all this exposed. All right, let's go on. We are almost at the end of yesterday's post, and as far as I know, last time I checked, there are no posts for today. So this will catch us up, and we are almost to the end here. So here, Q says, the BBC's hit piece on Q, 3 minutes, 55 seconds. And he refers, this anon says BBC's hit piece on Q, 3 minutes, 55 seconds. And Q says badge of honor, military grade, Q. So Q is saying that it's a badge of honor having a hit piece out by the BBC on him. And there is a hit piece out there on him, and I thought I had put the link to it. But perhaps I didn't. So I may have to go out and take a boo at that. I thought for sure that I had, but I didn't. Anyway, I don't think that that is all that necessary right now. You can look that up for yourselves if you do want to see it. It's short, and that's exactly what it is. It's a hit piece on Q, and they have a very liberal looking young lady looking exactly as you would expect a young liberal lady to look, also saying that, you know, Q is a conspiracy, so forth. But Q is calling it a badge of honor, a military grade badge of honor. So Q is not that concerned. So let's go up here. Now, I don't get this post, and if somebody can explain this to me, I would greatly appreciate it, because all I see here is a post by Q saying mistake in photo collage posted, reference to McCann not intended, no connection, Q. Now, I don't know what photo collage Q is referring to here. I have no idea, because I don't see that in the drops anywhere, and I don't see that I've missed any drops. McCann, of course, is that child that was taken, gosh, I've forgotten her first name now, but I've got a little bit of brain fade going on, but oh gosh, I would know it to hear it. Anyway, she was, they never really knew, Madeline McCann. And she was taken. They had a, a sketch artist draw what the two men looked like. They did certainly look like the Podesta brothers to me. And I don't know if that's what Q is referring to. I can't think of any other McCann that he would be referring to, but he says mistake in photo collage posted. Reference to McCann not intended, no connection, Q. So whether he is saying there is no connection between the Podestas and the disappearance of McCann, I don't know. I really don't know at this point, because I don't know what he is referring to. If you know, you can post it below in the comments. I would really appreciate it, because I've puzzled over this and puzzled over it, and I was even puzzling over it before I ate 5 popsicles. So it can't be the popsicles in this instance. It can't be. So anyway, let me go on. And here we go here, and Q again is making reference to this BBC hit piece on Q by this anon and saying it's a badge of honor, military grade, Q. And then we've got this same thing, badge of honor, military grade. And then he posts these 2 pictures that we are very familiar with. One, this is taken in London. It's Peter Strzok and Lisa Page crossing a road. Here is the big I for reference that is in London. And I'm not going to make this bigger. We've seen this picture a zillion times. There's the blurry picture of them crossing the road. Here is Lisa Page with her hand on a door entering. They are in the UK. And Q says beneath it, UK has problems, Q. And he references this. Now, I have seen all sorts of strange things. I don't think that this is as strange and convoluted as people are making it. What I think is the UK was in on this intelligence. They were in on this Steele dossier. They were in on it all. And Q is letting us know that they were probably meeting with someone from the UK. And Q is letting us know UK has problems. They've got problems. Q. Why do they have problems? Because remember, they have it all. They have it all. So whatever went down in UK, whoever they met with, whoever's from the UK has colluded in all of this, they have it all. UK has problems. And I'll tell you something else that's a little strange, is the UK is making preparations for civil unrest. And that is a fact. I will try to find more information on that, but they are making preparations for civil unrest. Why is that? Is something about to come out about all this? About how the UK is tied to trying to, conspire against a sitting president, trying to conspire against and tamper with U.S. elections? Is that all going to come out? Is that why they're expecting unrest? I don't know. But I know that they've also set up temporary morgues. So they are definitely expecting civil unrest over there. So whatever's coming, it's coming. UK has problems. We can take that to the bank because Q just told us they've got problems. Now, again, this is the last post, and this will bring us up to date unless Q has posted while I have been talking here. I would doubt that, but anything's possible, and I will go out and check before I end for the evening. But this is the last post from August 16, and it says, timelines change. Watch the budget. Q. I can't say that I know 100% what he's talking about here, but I guess we need to pay attention to the timelines. Timelines change. Watch the budget. What budget? Not sure yet. But there's something to this. Otherwise, Q would not waste our time in posting it. So, again, if you happen to know what this means or have any ideas, leave it in the comments below. I always look forward to your comments. That is it for this evening. I am going to go out just briefly and see if we are caught up at this time. This is the last one that we covered from August 16th. Let's reload and see if Q has posted today, the 17th, and the 17th is almost over. It is now 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are up to date. So that brings us completely 100% up to date at this point. Woohoo! Woohoo! I did it even with 5 popsicles in me. So there you go. That's it for this evening. If you want to stay subscribed, make sure that you are not dropped from the subscription list, because that tends to happen a lot, mysteriously enough. And also hit the bell if you wish to be notified of new videos. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I hope you sleep well. Stay safe.